All right, so a while back we made a video saying the shift was coming, and we were talking about things like AI and the impact of AI, and I think it's fair to say the shift is here. The shift is no longer coming, the shift is here, and I want to talk about that. I want to talk about paradigm shifts and what you can do, right? What you can expect, and we'll have to look back in history on that to really understand what's going on. But what's a paradigm shift? And it's a important change that happens when the usual way of thinking about or doing something is replaced by something new and different way, and that's just a very simple definition of paradigm shift. And my phone where I've got my notes, that was a paradigm shift. We saw it in our lifetimes. Everyone had a home phone, and then before you know it, everyone's got a cell phone, and there's no going back, right? Paradigm shifted, landlines to cell phones. Look at digital cameras, right? Digital cameras was a paradigm shift. We had digital cameras, we had regular cameras, 35 millimeter, right? They were great, they were awesome, everybody loved them. You took your photos down to the drugstore to get them developed, and then we had digital cameras, and boom, everyone switched to digital cameras. It's a superior technology in a lot of ways, right? That's a paradigm shift. It's when things change and they're really never going back, right? Everything just changes in a wave. So we are seeing that. We are seeing that with AI, artificial intelligence, absolutely seeing a paradigm shift, right? So you talk about AI, we're all very familiar with generative AI, which is the ability to generate things like text, right? You got text, videos, mimic speech, make art, music, video games on the fly. We've all seen it. ChatGPT, nothing against them. I'm going to kind of dig into them a little bit, but nothing against the company, right? You look at it, 57% of the population has tried ChatGPT, has tried AI. It's actually a great tool, right? A lot you can do with it. You want to create content very quickly. ChatGPT, generative AI, will do it for you. And honestly, we use it sometimes on our descriptions of our videos. Just being honest on that, right? We'll make a video, look up a description. It's just a simple way to generate text, and its simplicity and ease of adoption is why we're seeing it as a paradigm shift, right? Things aren't going back, and it appears very creative. That was one of the things people used to say about AI is AI can't be creative, and it's actually been very creative, and it could be the ability to emulate, right? And certainly some level of our human creativity is emulation. If you're going to draw a picture of a tree, you didn't create that. You've already seen trees your whole life, more or less, more than likely. Most people have. So you draw a tree. Are you creating that, or are you just emulating? So not going to go too deep into that argument of creation versus emulation, but AI has proven to be very creative, right, in writing text, in writing music, and it's slipped over on the computer side as well. Very meta. It can write code, it can write video games, it can do a lot of stuff, right? So that's the positive side, in that it empowers people to build and create very quickly, right? I'm going to give it that level of credit. There is a dark side to it, right? There's a major economic impact, jobs lost, fortunes made for the few. For the few that are on the ground level, on board, awesome potential to make fortunes, but for the people impacted, maybe not so much, right? So I looked at ChatGPT, and for the information I could find, OpenAI made $1.6 billion last year. They have about 800 employees, so that's about $2 million each. Not saying they got $2 million each. I'm just using the numbers I have in front of me. Nothing against them. Don't sue me. It said 57% of the population has tried it. 16% use it regularly, right? And where's the disruption comes in? Great for the 800 people or so that work there, and the $2 million each in profits. So in 2023, 37% of business leaders said that AI replaced workers. So that's last year, right? So it's already happening. We're already seeing workers being replaced by generative AI for its ability ability to create text, to create images, create videos, create YouTube videos, right? You can do headless YouTube channels and just have AI do all the work for you. And some of those do very well. They do better than my channel. But hey, we're going to keep going here. 37% of leaders said that AI replaced workers. 29% of workers believe they are AI replaceable. And that works out to 45 million people in 2023 believe their jobs can be replaced by AI. And that's huge. That's a huge economic impact to 45 million people. That was 2023. So in 2024, we're saying 44% of business expect layoffs because of AI, and we're already seeing that, right? AI is coming in, very easy to use if you're a writer, content creator, whatever you are. There's a chance for impact, and we'll look at that going forward. So we're saying by 2023, 14% job loss is expected due to AI, jobs that are easy to replace by AI. We're saying 29% of people believe they're replaceable. We're saying 37% of business leaders have replaced people, but they're speculating about 14% of all jobs lost, which is 26 million jobs lost by 2030 to AI. Right, that's a lot. That's a huge impact. And they're saying 60% of jobs likely impacted by AI, which is 100 million people potentially impacted by AI by 2030. So it's here. It's, I would say, the biggest paradigm shift of our lifetimes, and that's saying a lot because the cell phone, huge paradigm shift. Digital camera, as I said, huge paradigm shift. There's been a lot of major paradigm shifts in our lifetime. AI is a big one, right? There's a lot coming in. So what do you do, right? We want to put that in perspective. Certainly being adaptable, and we'll get into being adaptable, is probably the best thing you can do, right? We'll get into that. But first we got to look back, right? So we can understand paradigm shift, the impact of a paradigm shift on our lives. So history sometimes has some great lessons. So in the 18th century, we're going back to the 18th century here, the power loom was one of the most significant inventions of the early industrial revolution. It brought about a radical transformation in the textile industry, eventually leading to the establishment of cotton mills and large-scale textile factories. We're talking about power loom, right? This weaves fabric, right? And when the power loom came out, it was a major disruptor. One machine could do the work of many. So all of a sudden, everyone's standing around saying, wait a minute, I weave textiles for a living. What am I supposed to do? You can't bring in a power loom. You put us out of work. And they did, right? And as you can imagine, there were Powerloom Riots in 1826 in Lincolnshire, England. In the riots, more than 1,000 power looms were destroyed. So the people rose up. They destroyed the power looms. They attacked the factories. Huge riots, violence, people arrested. It was kind of a big deal in 1826. Now, as far as I know, we're still using power looms, and I'm sure the technology has advanced significantly since 1826. So what I'm saying is, as technology comes in, as these shifts happen, they can have major disruptions, and certainly the individual impact to people's lives can be significant and should not be understated, and I would not do that. At the same time, as they saw in the Powerloom Riots, once a paradigm shifts, it's hard to go back, right? That's the very definition of a paradigm shift, is things have changed. Like, you're not going to tell people now, hey, we should go back to weaving cloth by hand, or hey, we don't need these cell phones. We're just going to go back to using landlines, right? Once things have shifted, everything has changed, and that's what's happening with AI right now. Everything's changing for the better and for the worse, and we're seeing a lot of stuff on the dark side of AI. That happened with a recent release of an AI program, right? The ethics, the morals, the beliefs, the disbeliefs, whatever you want to call it. I'm trying to dance around a little bit here. Of the designers of AI, it tends to leak through, right? You call things like gaslighting, might be hard to trust, right? And that's kind of the age we're entering into, as we've talked about, the age of misinformation. And certainly AI is only as good as the people that trained it, the content that trained it, the creators, and those biases. That's the word I was looking for. Those biases are coming out, and we're seeing it, right? And the problem with AI is it's so good at creating, you may not even notice, you may not realize the biases that are built into the program, whether it's intentional or inadvertent, accidental. It seems intentional, a lot of the stuff we're seeing. So the technology itself can be big and scary, right? We're in an age of misinformation, and we've talked about that. Hard to know what's real anymore. But AI is here. AI is here to stay. The Powerloom revolution did not stop, or the Powerloom riots didn't stop the Powerlooms, right? It's about being adaptable. It's about seeing what's coming down the pipe, right? And I'm not saying that's easy to relearn new job skills. I'm not saying any of that's easy, but it's about where we're at, right? It's where we're at. So the next step, of course, from AI is robotics, as we're merging AI and robotics, and we're seeing that as well. So the city's first police dog, we're talking about New York. They had a police robot dog released in 2020 by Adams' predecessor, former Mayor Bill Blasio, but the city contract for the device was cut short after critics derided it as creepy and dystopian. So if you may remember that in New York a couple years ago, they're like, hey, here's our first police robot dog. It's going to go out and patrol, and people freaked out and they pulled it back. From what I'm reading in 2023, it's coming back, right? Those kind of things, those kind of robotics, robot dogs, robots tied with AI, whether it's drones, whether it's something else, they're here, right? There may be pushback, there may be delays, but that's the world we live in, and it does feel a little dystopian for a lot of reasons, right? But like the people that did the Powerlooms, once it's shifted, right? You have to be adaptable, and that kind of brings me to a Bruce Lee quote. It's probably one of my favorite quotes from Bruce Lee about adaptability. He said, be like water, making its way through cracks. Do not be assertive, but adjust to the object, and you shall find a way around it or through it. If nothing within you stays rigid, outward things will disclose themselves. Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless like water. If you put water in a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water in a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crush. Be water, my friend. So it is about adaptability. It's understanding what's coming in. Said 60% of jobs by 2030 will be impacted by AI. We'll all be using AI. Only about 16% of people use things like ChatGPT right now, but it's the direction things are going in, right? And there certainly is the potential for misuse, for misinformation, but it's the world we're seeing, right? So what can you do? I mean, we've talked about cyber attacks. I'm not going to get into the impact of AI and things like cyber attacks right now. We're just talking about general daily life. It's worth spending some time, right, in understanding the technology, getting familiar with the technology, the impact of the technology. It's about being adaptable is maybe the key to success, to thriving in the future, right? So as always, hope that helps out. Just want to talk a little bit about AI. Thank you for watching, and we appreciate you.